He has not. Well, he did once,
Yeah.
and asked when we'd be ready, and I told him.
Well, it's just to.
You still on our radar?
Put it on here.
Oh, I told him whenever you're ready, and they got time,
So
we'll make it happen.
Yeah,
So I told him,
So process for.
I said, we'll make it,
Okay, we're live.
Yeah.
I now call to order this common council of Honeyburg, Indiana.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Father God, thank you for citizens and for elected officials that are here today and for their commitment to the city. We ask now, to go to this meeting, that decisions are being made here that are pleasing to you, but also for the benefit of the entire community. We're also asked now comforting prayers over the events of this past week, and we continue to have a loss in our community. Just keep our first responders, our police, and the families in our city comfort them. These things we ask in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, ask for approval of the minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second it.
At first and second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Approval of the claims.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Got a first and second, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, the motion carries. First thing up is public hearing on the proposed gas rate. That was, you have the copy of the notice here that was in the paper. This is our second round with this, but I don't know if there's any questions from right now. I don't think we have anybody here to ask questions.
We still need to open to the public.
What's that?
Still need to open to the
Open
public.
to the public, comment.
Oh, I'm sorry, open to the public for comment questions. I figured when I opened the public hearing, it was there.
You've almost just become a council person yourself.
No, she's all electric, so she, yeah.
No comments. I suggest we close the public hearing. Make a
Okay,
motion.
I'll second.
okay, we got a first and a second to close the public hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Public hearing is now closed. Also, we'll have a public calling to order a public hearing on proposed utility reconnection charges. That's separate from the rest, everything else that we had proposed earlier. I'll open it up now for public comments.
As you recall, the gas ordinance has proposed that the reconnection charges following disconnection for non-payment be increased from $25 to $50, and after hours from $75 to $125. The water and electric utility would it's recommended they also go to that rate. So that's what this proposed ordinance would do. You introduced it at the last meeting, and it's set for public hearing today, in case there's any public comment on it.
Probably should let you know Buzz Crone is available. He's in Zoom here. If anybody has any questions, he's here basically answer questions. If anybody has any.
I have no question.
Oh, I have a comment. I think it's a proper thing to do to keep all the reconnect charges, equal between the utilities, so it's a lot simpler to administrate and keep track of.
I agree.
And later in the agenda, I believe you can consider the final adoption of those two ordinances, the gas rate and the reconnection charge ordinance.
So, no comments, I guess.
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Thank you.
I'll second.
First and second, close public hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Next thing, and this is something that's we've been kind of pushing. We've had problems with some licensing, but as you know, July 1st, all public meetings that deal with fiscal matters have to be public. So a lot more of our meetings will be conducted here in this room. The Parks Board already has begun that process, and of course, the Board of Public Works, but other meetings that the city where fiscal decisions are gonna be made here, they'll be televised. As a result of that, we looked at the hours involved. We've probably got 3 hours involved right now, just with Rob plus our other staff in posting links, getting links out, getting information. So we went to, we researched Rob Mendel, mainly did most of the research. There is only one company right now licensed in the state of Indiana, so they do all the business with the state. We can use unlicensed companies, however, we decided to go with this company for security reasons, because they're able to take everything out. The first proposal we came out, I think hardware is about 30-some thousand. We got that down to around the $10,000 mark. But it will be an upgrade of cameras we'll be still utilizing the monitors that we have here. We'll still be using some of the microphones. There is an iPad involved, 2 iPads. We'll be able to start the meeting here from the iPad. Basically pushing a button that starts it, so we won't need to utilize any IT people outside of this room. The other thing that'll do, it'll come through Zoom versus
Facebook.
YouTube, Facebook, and all the other things. That'll allow more security for them. Those will be automatically part of the deals that will be archived. You'll see a charge in here for the Zoom charge. We already have Zoom. This is a government Zoom. This will phase the other payment that we're making right now with Zoom out. For the first 2 or 3 months, we'll have to have both for a little while during the transition. But we are protected by the fact that they are a vendor of the state of Indiana. And then they do have state licensing to for security reasons. A lot of things been happening. Let's just say with YouTube, AI is taken, put things in elected officials' house on YouTube. And it does sound like you don't think that they can't do that, because they do. There's a mayor had that happen in a public meeting in Northern Indiana recently by utilizing YouTube videos and utilizing AI to have it say the proper thing. About $50,000 in legal fees later, they got figured out. So this is a lot less risk for us.
So I assume you asked them the approval of this.
So we're gonna ask approval of the documents to be able to take it out. We do have a statement of work there, signing the contract, and as well as.
I did have a question on that. Is that our equipment then when we're done?
Yes,
Yeah, okay, so it's not a lease or anything like that. So it's 10,000.
it's not, yeah, it's not proprietary equipment, so it's something that goes bad. I mean, it's an iPad, it's.
Right after that, we'll pay 10,645. And then we'll also pay 13,980.
Which includes,
And then also 4,440. Is that right? I mean, for that 28,000, that we have to be writing the check for.
yes, yeah.
That's the first year, correct? That's the first year, and then after the annual charges, I'm sorry, but it's 4,400.
Yeah, it goes down to 4,400 after the first year. That's for, I believe there's 10 different feedings that will cover. It does have other advantages too. We're looking at utilizing it for training sessions too, whether it be a fire department or even HR areas here where we can record those training sessions and they can bring it back up. And it's right now we're at 720 on our, this will be basically 1.5 times the clarity that we have now. We all won't look as fuzzy online as we do now. It should be pretty clear. Camera will be placed right here next to this pole here. Have a 180-degree camera. And we'll have one for the back for the audience too. You're gonna start wearing suits.
Yeah, do we
Yeah.
have that much
So you may-
clarity?
You may want to comb your hair better and that type of thing. Clarity will be much better.
So, assume we have the money just coming out of the general?
Yeah, it'll be split among each of those departments, equally split, so, Parks, Board of Public Works, HR, the council split,
Whoever has meetings.
whoever has meetings,
Wait a
yes.
minute, wait a minute.
Yeah, utility board, anybody that has a meeting will pay their share, so it'll be split out.
So it'll be our council meeting, the utility board, Board of Public Works, Parks Board.
Parks board.
If there's any planning, zoning.
DCA, zoning, yeah.
Okay, way I read it, looks like there's one invoice here for the annual amount plus the one-time installation, and then the Zoom is a separate charge. That's a separate fee for the Zoom, because it's a governmental site Zoom, because there's two different invoices here, or
Yeah.
purchase orders here.
And we're phasing out of the other Zoom too.
Okay,
Right now, we have the public Zoom. Which doesn't have the security that the governmental Zoom, so this will be business and government Zoom.
okay.
My comments, people kind of expect it these days, you know, to have the ability to see these meetings without coming here and participating. They kind of got used to that kind of, they've gotten used to that kind of stuff, and then as, I don't know what the viewership has been on our previous setup, but I got a feeling if the camera angles are right and the audio is good, we'll probably see that increase.
Yeah,
And so I think
it'll be much better quality.
yeah, I think it's a good investment.
It is the same one that IEDC, all the branches of the governor's area is already utilizing it. And we'll be one of the first municipalities to utilize it. I think there's about 6 or 8 right now, but it's growing. So what I need a motion is to approve the contracts moving forward. We did, you notice I didn't sign those. We did let them know it's contingent upon your approval this evening.
River system?
Yes, River Systems.
I'll make a motion to approve the statement of work.
Awesome.
We have first and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you.
We have to do the other part separate, or we do it, Phil? The Zoom, is that just a part of it? Oh,
Or I think there's a,
Yeah,
I was trying to think it's all in there.
the Zoom, the government Zoom will go through them, so.
Okay.
Including some.
I'll include the government Zoom in that motion, if there's any clarity needed later. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah.
Even loophole.
Okay, next thing on the agenda, we have. This is kind of an annual contract right now, becomes it's an authorizing resolution to allow April Blessinger, our transit director, to apply for the transit funding for this year. See, we have, I don't know if that's even our proper format, but.
it's close enough.
We use it.
Okay, all
That's
right.
what they require us to use it.
Okay.
That will be resolution.
I don't have a number on here.
2025-10.
So any questions on the grant or any comments before we? Not, we'll entertain a motion to accept resolution 2025-10. Present.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
I'm gonna first, second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries.
No,
No roll call
it was
needed.
just a resolution to be adopted by the commission.
All right. So, no more discussion. We'll call on energy,
For money.
energy superintendent, John Rudolph.
That's gonna work good on your camera.
Off with the gas department. Did install 3 new services. Retired 1 service. And replaced 1 service. We got 7 applications on file. 2 of them 7 are big old subdivision out there. The last 2 we're starting foundations on them, so once them two are done, subdivision will be totally complete. So, good. Then the crews did change out 40 new meters, smart meters to the, this month. Moving right along with that. Crews inspected our inline and critical valves for debris in the valve boxes, make sure they're all operating properly. Not really a box, what it is, just like a 4-inch tube from the road surface down to the valve. Several cities sometimes use a lot of sand. When it gets washed off, it fills in. So if you got a gas emergency, come to the valve box, it's full of debris, and then you can't hardly get the valve turned off. So we got to inspect them yearly or twice a year. So we got that all done. Then we did regulator station lockups on all our regulator stations. There's 2 valves on there. One of the valves, the incoming pressure reduces down to the lower pressure. But we have a backup valve on that. So we got to make sure that's working in case we have a failure on the original valve or the first valve. So we got to go through and test all in, and everything tested out good. Then, as you can see in the one picture on our patrols, we found a 3-inch gas main that's exposed. It's in a field washout. It's Allen County Road 800 by Duff. So we had to schedule that when we have a boring crew come in. We're only allowed to use the boring crew from Illinois due to the gas regulations, USDI. So we put that on our list. We can't just have them come over to do one bore, so bundle them all together, many as we can. So we did come in and bore. And while they're here, we had 11th Geiger Street between 10th and 11th. They got roads going to be reconstructed this summer. After some visual inspections of the gas main was only 10 inches deep. It's a steel put in 70s, 60s. And when they reconstruct the road, they're going back with quite like 10 inches of concrete. Plus they got to dig it out and put a base underneath that. So the whole line is going to be replaced. There's 4 services on that little stretch. So we bored in a plastic, 2-inch plastic. On one side of the road is pretty, there wasn't many utilities in there, so it's good boring. The section we bored, it was still a good stretch of concrete that wasn't going to be disturbed when they redo the road. So we just bored on through, bored down to 10th Street, and we made a little jag toward the highway past where they're going to be reconstructing the road. So now we got to go in there and switch over the services. And while they're here, we had a gas leak a while back. I think it was Janet's place. We did fix that. We found that's all steel. It's put in the mid 70s probably. Service line was steel. It was bad. We kind of dug down to the main. Back in the 70s, the weld jobs weren't probably efficient as they are now. It's kind of a red flag. And we did have a notice of another leak in that same area, that same block. So we did a test on the main, called a cathodic protection test on it. It didn't live up to the federal standards. So it kind of tells us that main is deteriorating to the point where it needs to be replaced. It's still safe, but we had to put it on our priority list to get it replaced. So actually this week they bored a new gas main behind the curb on the east side of the road. We have 8 services in that block, so we got to replace all the services to the house because they were steel. So I think today they got 5 of them done. I think they got 3 more to go. And it's been going pretty good. So we did finish that up. The boring crew was in town for like 2 days, so we had to make the advantage while we had them here. And then I think there's another service. We also bored a high bank on a house. So while they're here, they just bored a new service in. So we didn't have to tear the banks up. But made good. So they did get it all finished and what they're working on. Questions on the gas?
I just want to thank you for quick reaction when building 5 out at OFS. There's a major gas leak when that occurred, when we blew that roof off, and
Yeah.
Brian was there very quickly, as was the water department, the electric department too, but I think the biggest concern at that time was the gas leak. And
Yeah.
came through. Thank you for the
We got,
professional response that we got from your crew.
did a good job. And with the electric, we did some tree clearing. Away from the power lines, and also took down some pine trees along 19th Street for the street project. They're gonna be putting a sidewalk in and redoing some of the road. Pine trees are in the way, so we went out and took them down. And we did replace 3 poles behind Yogi's Liquor Store, and in some pictures. You see the old poles versus the new pole we put in. You can see the old poles are pretty old, short, leaning over. So that was gonna be a good conversion. We got the new pole set. I think today they finished up converting everything over except Yogi's Liquor Store. They got to schedule an outage with them to switch it over. Surprised the wind hasn't blown them over yet. They got transformers are pretty heavy and they're leaning pretty good. Then we had a boring crew boring 800 feet of conduit for 2 projects, one on Sunset Drive, serving a couple customers. Storm come through the other day, blew a tree over, hit the lines, snapped a pole. So we had that, go ahead and decide to have that board put underground.
That sunset, that picture,
Pardon?
that sunset with that poles down.
No,
No,
it's coming. That's coming.
I'm sorry.
It's gonna be somewhere else.
Thank you.
But the other project we had was the, I think it's the KFC in St. Henry. They're tearing that building down, I think in June after their festival. They're building a new one. Oh, I guess when they installed that service, they run a line, you can see in the picture. Runs over that building. Goes back to the corner that feeds the house. It's no longer. The line's got to be moved. There's no longer. Legal to run a service across somebody else's property to feed somebody else. So the boring crew, while we had them here. We bored down the little county, with a county road there. Coming off 1100 to Main Road. We went ahead and bored a conduit down so we can. Feed that house to the south there, so. When they go to tear that building down, that line will be gone, so we had to correct that. And they're gonna have a new service there, so. That'd be coming this summer, but we did have to get that line cleared before. Did that. And then, pole you see, that was in the same night that the wind come and took the roof off OFS 5. We had 3 poles snap. St. Henry, County Road 200 before you get to 1100. Actually, it's some of the old poles we had, they're still good, so we didn't replace them. They're a skinnier pole, they're in decent shape. Guess Mother Nature puffed and puffed and she blew them down for me. So now we got some good beefy poles, we've replaced them. The outage is about 3 hours. For the 2 of my apprentices, they were in Greenfield for training all week, so I was kind of short 2 guys. So I went out there after I left OS 5, so I went out there and set 3 new poles, got everything back up. Like I said, a 3 hour outage. So, wind won't blow them poles over, them are pretty thick. And then congratulations to Trevor Hunefeld and Jarrett Pollen, moved up to Tech 2, they were away for a week at Greenfield. Did all their tested out real good. Well, they moved up to Tech 2s. Very proud of them, they did a really good job.
Climbing.
Yep. One of their, part of their training, they built a line in training, built hooks. And I guess after class was over, the instructors went, tore all the wires down, cut the wires. They got them up at 4:30 in the morning. They had to go out and reconstruct it in the dark. It's part of their training, like simulate a power outage or a storm. They had to all do it in the dark on Delton hooks.
Wow.
So
Wow.
that's awesome. They did a really good job. Any questions on the electric?
I do, it's just clarification. Is that the CKFA?
Or
Let's see. It's right on, and say Henry?
Yeah.
It's a building on the right hand side, you go through town.
across the bundle?
Okay, yeah, that's the building I thought we were talking about, but, yes.
Right across
That's the only
the
building.
It's not a big building, it's, yeah.
I'm making sure that I'm following along.
CKFA.
But that line goes over the top, goes over the top of that building?
That's the bungalow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
across the bungalow.
It goes over the top of that building now, or did?
Well, it feeds the transformer, 2 lines go with it, feeds the pole that feeds the building. And
Yeah,
it continues on with a single phase line to feed that house back there.
and you just took that off and ran it.
Yeah, we're gonna, got the conduit in, we gotta pull the wire and do all that, but we got till June to do it, so. But we didn't want to wait till the last minute.
No, that's a lot, that's a good upgrade there.
And this one storm did come, I think it blew part of a pole behind the city office here. We had to replace that with put a ductile iron pole back here. I think today they pulled the wire out, had new underground put in. So I think they got that all back to normal now. They had to put a temporary feed to this line that feeds the post office, city office. I think they got that all back to normal.
Good job.
Lights.
You're doing a great job.
Yeah, thank you.
The only outage we had was in St. Henry for that deal.
Yeah.
For that event, that's pretty good.
Only for 3 hours. That's phenomenal. It's
So
really awesome.
3 of the older poles we
That's a
didn't
really good
replace, but now they're replaced.
Yeah. I know, you just went out there about 2 or 3 years ago and once you did that whole deal.
Yeah,
Just
we
about,
just left.
except those 3.
Mother Nature found them.
Thank you, John.
All right, thanks.
Very good.
Next we have Water Superintendent Jerry Austin. You want to dig the report and then ask for your.
Yeah. Sometimes I get lost on this report. I've seen you guys so many times in the last few months. I'm not sure what we've talked about, what we haven't, to be honest.
Oh, we're not
Yeah. So with distribution, we've installed 3 new services this month. We have also retired 2 services, one with Norfolk Southern that they no longer use, and one at the close to the intersection of 10th and Race Street. There was an old house that stood there. The house was tore down and the neighboring property had purchased that house. They no longer wish to keep that service. So anytime we find them, we always speak to the homeowners, and if they no longer wish to keep them, we try to get them out of there to prevent future issues. We did have a valve box on Chestnut Street that we found during our hydrant flushing this year that was damaged. We weren't able to replace that one without digging it up and replacing it. But we did get it out of the ground and a new valve box replaced. The road put back together there. We've had quite a few dig sites over the last winter into the early spring. It's been too wet to get out there and do a lot of that stuff. So we've been able to get out there and do a lot of dirt work here this past month as well. And then we had a call concerning some air in the lines out on our Patoka Phase 1 transmission main out on County Road 700. Due to old records and things being installed and not kept up to date in records, we were unaware that there was some air relief valves out in that area. We actually, were able to talk to some old city employees and we found out that we did have 2 air relief valves in that area. When we did locate those air relief valves, they both were, not working properly. So we rebuilt those 2 air relief valves and got them reinstalled, and that's taking care of that issue out there. That water main out there, there's a lot of ups and a lot of downs out there in those hills, so at most of the high points in those water mains, the customers will catch a lot of air unless there is working air relief valves out there. So we've got that taken care of. It's documented in our mapping now. We did have a valve that failed at the intersection of 3rd Street and 4th Street due to the hardware on the valve not being stainless steel. We've come across this multiple times in the past. We've talked about it. So we dug that valve up. We were able to replace all the issues without having a water outage there. And then we all water department employees did attend an AWWA conference this past month to acquire CEUs for all the water licenses that they hold. We have a hydro excavating dump site at 1st Street Limb Lot that most departments use that have hydro excavators. We did have some, I won't say downtime, but a little time. We did have free time. We were able to get down there and all the mud that we've dumped down there was dry enough to be able to load on dump trucks and haul out to Ralph Wagner's to dump over his high wall. And then we've had a lot of trees falling around the lake and the boat ramp here this past few months with storm damage. A lot less thanks to John and his guys last year getting out there and helping us get a lot of those trees down around the spillway. And then we had Aaron Beaker and Josh Souders. They attended a 50-hour class. It was a backflow cross-contamination class. It is affiliated with IDEM. They both passed the class. They passed the test with that class and received their IDEM certifications. That's something we've talked about before. We have 3 others in the department that are certified. We do certify our own backflows within the city. Something that we could potentially look at moving forward to maybe offering that service to our customers. So the more we can get there, the merrier. And then one thing I did miss on there that I didn't, I know we did speak about it briefly. The mayor talked about it last meeting I was here, was the water leak we had on Chestnut Street, just north of the railroad tracks. That is a 12-inch main there. We did end up with a 13-foot crack in the bottom of that water main. We did have a water outage for roughly 45 minutes. It was in the AM hours of the night. We did have a boil order for 24 hours that it did affect 3 blocks. We did have to cut out 15 foot of that main to install. We had to work with the railroad. We were so close to the railroad tracks within the cross bucks. So we had to have a track guy come out there. Guys came in at 7 a.m. that morning and they left at 4 o'clock the next day. So they stuck with it. We got the road put back together and they really hung in there for us and got things done. Other than that, moving on to the filtration plant, we have clay valves out there that prevent water hammer for all of our pumps and our system pushing water into town. They were due for our preventive maintenance, so we took care of that in the filtration plant. And then the metering system, we have 3 more shipments of those meters that are coming in for the large diameter meters, and then we will be completely wrapped up with our meter install in its entirety for water. We've been talking to Utility Supply. They are our supplier that we get those meters from, and we're hopeful within the next 2 to 3 months we'll see those and we'll have that wrapped up. They are all our large diameter meters, so it does take longer trying to coordinate with the factories and things like that to be able to shut their water off to install those. So sometimes it requires an after-hour installation or a weekend installation.
High demand day wasn't April 10th, was it?
High demand day, April 10th did hit us.
Okay.
That is when OFS, when their roof blew off, their sprinkler system opened up. And we lost about 7 foot in our water tower, our west water tower, within 20 minutes. So we it drains it quick. Thankfully, we got guys out there right away that responded. We got valves shut down and, got that water shut off. So it, when those lines blow like that, they do drop the water towers quick. We did have a operator running at that time, so the plant was running. We had our Patokas on running. We did catch back up fairly quick. So there was no issues with any fire protection or anything like that, but it's definitely, we're grateful. I know John tell you the same thing about his guys. When the phone rings, they're all here. They don't hesitate unless they're out of town. We definitely have a good group of guys working for the departments in the city. So I had 2 guys that showed up that night to take care of OFS, and I know they,
One of them gave me a ride.
yeah, we even had a chauffeur service, but, yeah, nope, everything went great though. Other than that, that's, all I had for my monthly report. If there's any question?
Thank you, Doug.
All righty, so next item on the agenda there. Unfortunately, with our cybersecurity, we are required to update all of our computers to Windows 11. I know you guys have heard this from Tom. I know he just had to purchase a bunch of new computers for that issue. With our SCADA system, which can, ties our water plant to our water towers to our Patoka pits. The software that we use for that, there's 3 different softwares there. There's a FactoryTalk SCADA, a Win911 system, and an Excel reporting system. They are not Windows 11 compatible, unfortunately. Our hardware that we do have, as far as the computer, is available to be updated. We did just replace that with the water plant upgrade, so that cuts back on the price there. Torque Engineering is the company that the city decided to go with back in 2016. This isn't something that we could reach out to other SCADA systems. If we did, we'd have to start over at square one. So with that, in order to bring this computer to Windows 11, this quote for $13,323 is just for the software for SCADA. They will actually be using the city's Windows 11 license, since the city owns I don't know if it's a bulk license or what you would call that, but they would use our license for Windows 11 and just their work to install all the current versions of the software, as well as installing the Windows 11. This computer here is fully serviced by Torque. They do all of our, I don't want to say, well, they do all of our cybersecurity. It's covered under city insurance, but they handle that computer 100%. That computer is not touched by any in-house IT with the city, just due to the nature of the software that's on it. So be looking for consideration of approval for that purchase.
Questions, or do we have a motion to accept? Outside of just being more secure, because it's gonna be operating on a Windows 11 platform, will you see performance improvements or any kind of noticeable?
They do say that there will be some differences with the current version. Our version is 6 years old now. So they do say that we will see some difference in it, but not much. The only thing with this is with the city cybersecurity insurance, this computer is hooked up to the internet. It is on our system. So if we don't update to Windows 11 and there'd be a security breach, the insurance company would not pay. The city would be liable for it. So unfortunately, as much as I don't want to spend the money to do this upgrade, it's kind of a necessity.
And from what I gather, Torque is the only available bidder.
Correct. Yeah.
I'll make a notion to accept it. We'll accept the quote from Torque Engineering.
I'll second that.
First and second, all those in favor? Any opposed? All right, it's approved.
Thank you. I did have one other thing. It's just more for informational. I did talk to Phil about it, the mayor, and Tom's aware too. I did get a updated contract for preliminary and final design, bidding and negotiation, construction engineering, RPR and additional services from Commonwealth Engineering, just to continue to move our project forward. Nothing more than what was discussed previously, other than this just adds those items to the task order that we are continuing to move forward to get this project out to bid. Like I said, Phil's seen it. He said that it,
We have a basic engineering contract with Commonwealth, and if we need additional engineering at any time, they can add additional task orders. So they've added a task order for this, for the filter rebuilding project.
Correct.
And it includes not only the preliminary engineering, the study that's already been done, but the preliminary engineering, the design engineering, construction engineering, and the construction supervision. I think the total, I don't have it in front of me, but I think the total was $219,000.
Correct.
That's what they had proposed when they were here the last time for the board. But it would probably be a good idea for the council to approve that, authorize that contract, that task order.
And it's at our present negotiated rates that we have for any project. We do. But we'd feel more comfortable, we made a motion here to.
I think that was the notion. It didn't necessarily need it, but it would be just as good to have it.
Make a motion to approve the contract with Commonwealth.
I'll second it. Got first and second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, carries.
All right.
Thank
That's all I have. Thank you, guys.
Work is just beginning.
All right.
Thank you. Next, we have city attorney Phil Schneider regarding the gas consideration of the final adoption of the gas rate ordinance.
Previously on March 25, you introduced ordinance number 2025-08, which is the proposed gas rate ordinances that have been subject to public hearing tonight and much discussion in the past. You introduced it, so you could consider final adoption tonight by motion and approval.
We certainly have done, had a lot of conversation about it. Feel good that we, thanks to Buzz and the mayor and the other council members for all their work on going back and relooking at the original ordinance and making the modifications that we all requested. And so I'm ready to move forward with it, assuming we don't have any other questions.
I'm pleased to have the work done with everybody trying to bring it in as best we can and still be somewhat, trying to keep our department, liquid over here. So,
And we haven't had any rate increase for 12 years, I believe, so.
Thank you to Tom and John for the work they put into this project too.
appreciate it.
So we would need a motion to adopt number
2025-08.
I'll make a motion to adopt.
I'll second.
Got a first and second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries on 2025-06.
Aye.
Where? Bolte.
Aye.
McFerrin.
Aye.
Bam.
Aye.
4 ayes, 1 absent.
We can adopt this tonight. We need to.
No, that's, you've already introduced it, so you just need to pass it on final hearing.
All
right. The other ordinance is the ordinance we had a public hearing on earlier this evening, the readjustment or the adjustment of the reconnection fees from $50, I'm sorry, from $25 to $50, then after hours from $75 to $125. This ordinance applies to water and electric because the new gas ordinance already has that in. So it's been introduced at your last meeting, and it could be adopted by final action tonight.
So that 25, 28.
It is
29.
09.
0,
09. 09.
Need a motion to.
I'll make a motion to adopt.
Second.
Got a first and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you for your due diligence.
Kissling.
Aye.
Where? Bolte.
Aye.
McFerrin.
Aye.
Bam. Aye. 4 ayes, 1 absent.
Hoping they'll do that.
Well, next, clerk treasurer, Tom Hippel. Have nothing? You have nothing? Any other council items?
Just like this. Reiterate what you mentioned about our utility companies. Flying themselves are our problem we've had. Thank you guys very much.
We really are blessed. great utility department, so thank you guys. And for all of the preventative things that you're doing, that make times when there are storms or things that happen. It is pretty seamless and you guys corrected quickly, so thank you.
Just one of the things that don't happen and we appreciate of.
That's probably the big thing.
Yeah.
And the contractors in town and all the, I appreciate you guys having to, you know, get on board and get down to these places pretty quick sometimes to rectify a problem or a potential problem, so. It's very, very good system we got. Very lucky.
There are no more council items entertaining citizens items. If not, then I would entertain the motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
One second.
First and second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, motion carries. Now adjourned at 6:16 p.m. Still live.
Yeah, it's, well, it's what you get used to.
It's in the thick of that.
How's Walmart going?